Have you ever like considered what our show would be like if we started with like a cold open, Chris?
I have not.
Like, oh man, I just got an ad. Like, like, have you ever thought that maybe
A
we'd be
joke
like,
about the fallen being Jews.
yeah, some of the volume views, like just something more like conversational, something that the fans would like. Like, do you think that would increase our watch time?
I don't know, maybe.
Well, how would you feel if I ended this cold open by saying, "Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Project GEEKcast. My name is Josh Jones. I'm here with my good friend Chris Glansman.
Hello.
What do you think of that cold open, Chris?
Yeah, I was very much not expecting it.
See,
As soon as you started, oh no.
I was planning this maybe an hour ago. I was like, how can I get Chris?
All right.
I was hoping
Well
that
played.
that changes our watch time from like 42 seconds to like a minute, and now people are like, now I'm bored. Now I'm done watching.
That's a step in the right direction.
Exactly. Today on this new episode, we are talking about next generation consoles, what we are excited about, what we're worried about, the positives and negatives, just the whole shabam. We're just kind of dealing with like the duality of the two emotions, figuring out where we land exactly on these consoles.
Hmm.
Chris and I both came up with two cons and two positives, so we're gonna hit those in a bit. But first, I want to talk about the PlayStation 5 reveal event. Chris, what did you think about that?
Yeah, it was very weird. I wasn't gonna watch it. I was gonna let you watch it and tell me if I should watch it or not, because I had a lab to be a part of and a test to study for and do that day. But I just kind of ended up watching it anyway.
Hmm.
And it was not what I expected at all. I was expecting lots of information about the console itself, because I don't
Hmm.
know how much about the specs they've released in the past. I haven't
All the
really been
specs are
following it.
out.
Are they?
Yeah, yeah, everything's out.
Well, I was expecting like a price and the design, which we got the design, which was cool. But it was so many games, and like I hadn't heard of most of the games, and it was a lot of fan service games that and stuff that I've never played Ratchet and Clank before, so I'm
You
not really
should.
interested in the new one that's coming out. You
I'll
know,
lend you my copy of Ratchet and Clank. I never finished it, but it's so good. It feels so smooth. It's
Great
a really good time.
to me. I
What'd you
haven't
say?
finished. That's every game that you recommend to me. I haven't finished it, but what I've played is really good.
I I am a busy boy. I got things to do. I can't finish every single game that I pick up. I probably could if I bought fewer games, but it's an addiction that's not going to end. I got to be honest
Hmm.
with you. I so this whole tradition of like only showing games is something that they picked up from their E3 maybe at 20 like 16. That was probably or maybe I think it was 2016. I think that was the year that they announced Spider-Man. If it wasn't that one, that was 2017. But it was like literally the presentation was just game after game after game after game after game. And this was followed by so many years of game, and then person comes out and talks about said game for like 5 minutes. People were like, "Yay!" And it's just like it was so boring and slow. But like now they've recently picked up this habit where they just shoot out a whole bunch of things, which has its positive and negatives. I think that it's
Hmm.
exciting because like games are what I'm here for. I'm interested in seeing the games more than anything. But sometimes it does feel like a bit of an overload, and sometimes they do show games that are a bit slower paced. I'm not as interested in. Like,
Hmm.
it's about bug snacks.
Oh yeah, Bug Snacks.
If the people
The
bug
worst Australian accent I've heard in my entire life.
was so, I was I was watching with my little brother and I was like, what is this game? Like, this is like the weirdest acid trip ever. Like, person
Hmm.
got burger hands, right?
What can I say?
If the company from Bug Snacks ever wants to have us demo their game and take back what we said, it does not take much to convince me. Just give me a plane ticket. Maybe just send me a bag of pretzels and I'll show up.
Awesome.
However, at this current moment, Bug Snacks does not look interesting to me.
Gee, I don't think we have the influence to get that bag of pretzels though. So
I think if we beg, I think if we beg a lot, we'll get it.
please, please, we will spread our positive reviews to 10 people.
All right, so Chris, let's get into our pros and cons, or your worries and your excitements, whatever you want to call them. What's your first con?
So I think my biggest worry about the PlayStation 5 Xbox What is it? What is the new Xbox?
It's Xbox Series X.
Xbox Series X. Okay. Next gen consoles is like the storage space, which sounds like a
Hmm.
kind of a silly thing, but my PlayStation when I got it, it does not have much storage space. I have like 5 games downloaded on it at a time. I have a 1 terabyte second hard drive to download games onto
Hmm.
because I could not play all the games that I wanted to play,
Yeah.
and it's kind of frustrating. So I'm hoping that the base storage on next gen consoles, since it, they've storage has been developing. It's easier to store more games on smaller spaces, I think,
Hmm.
than it has ever been. So hopefully it will be higher default storage with all the other things that they're adding.
Hmm.
Because I feel like if I'm gonna play all the games that I want to play, I need the space to do it,
So,
especially with the update sizes and the game sizes these
oh,
days.
update sizes of the absolute worst. Oh my goodness. I've had like 50 or 60 gigabyte games go up to 100 gigabytes just because of how many
Mm-hmm.
updates they got. Destiny, you need to calm down with all your updates that you're giving me and how big your game is getting.
COD Modern Warfare,
Oh
huge.
my gosh.
Don't even get me
I
started on. I haven't even played Red Dead. So much. It's
took
two
me
discs.
it took me so long. I left my house to go like do something else with my friends because I knew it was gonna take too long. And when The Last of Us gets here on Friday, I don't know how I'm gonna deal. That also has 2 discs. I switched out my initial hard drive with a 2 terabyte because I just
Mm.
could not. And even like right now with how many games I have, I've been deleting things to like free up more space, and I need to like make sure I have free space for The Last of Us because it needs like twice the game size to like even download a game or something crazy like that.
That's silly too. And even my terabyte is full. I
Mhm.
have like 10 games on it. It's full.
Yeah.
It's so it's so absurd how much space all this stuff takes.
So can I relieve your worries just a little bit?
Sure.
The PS5 has 825 gigabytes, and Series X has 1 terabyte
Okay.
on solid state discs or solid state drives. Sorry, wait, is it drives or discs?
I don't know what any of that means,
It's
but
on
I'll take your word
SSD.
for it.
S,
Oh, okay.
let's not let's SSD just means as far as I'm aware, faster loading times. That's all I know.
So that's a good sign.
Yeah,
That means I won't need it. I won't need my second hard drive for like 2 years after I get it
yeah. You can
instead
just
of
you
like
can wait
6 months.
you can wait a little bit longer until you get that second
Mhm.
hard drive. My first con is the design of both of these
Mhm.
consoles. Uh, they're both ugly, but for like 2 different reasons, in my opinion. But in my opinion, they're both ugly for different reasons. First off, the Series X is literally just a box. Like, and like you could say all of them are boxes, but no, they're not all boxes. They're boxes with like style and class, right? My my PS4 is a nice what's that shape? Is that a
It's a
trapezoid?
parallelogram.
Parallelogram. It's a nice, sexy parallelogram prism, right? It's real nice, right?
Hmm.
It's all sleek. The buttons are awful. I hate trying to find those buttons. For the longest time, I could not figure out how to turn my PS4 on. But it's sleek and it's discreet. My Xbox that I don't ever turn on. It also is like it is a box, but it is like it's white on top and it's black at the bottom. There's a little bit of difference there, right?
Hmm.
Series X is just ka-chunk, just a big old thick box, right?
The Wi-Fi router.
It's a Wi-Fi. No, that's the PS5. Don't get me started on that monstrosity. I'm gonna get the one with the discs because that's how I am. I'm a hoarder and I like collecting all these things. And if I want the one with the disc, it's gonna be curvy. It's nothing is thick. And it's just like it is just and like have you seen all the memes of it like as a Kaiba and the Eye of Sauron? Is that what the Lord of the Rings thing
Yeah.
is called? And it's just like just makes me mad. And both of them are being marketed mostly vertically, which I think was a thing for PlayStation typically. But like everyone put those things on its side. But it almost looks like they want you to put them vertically because it'll look better that way. But like I'm
Hmm.
not gonna do that. I'm gonna put them on the side.
Yeah. Like I'm not gonna get the Xbox. I've never been really an Xbox person. I feel
Hmm.
like most of the exclusives on PlayStation are the stuff that I want to play, like The Last of Us. but like the design is very weird for both. But I think the PlayStation wasn't that bad.
I think
I
it
think
looks
it's a little
ugly.
weird.
I think it looks so hecka ugly. I hate the control. Oh, don't get me started on that ugly controller. Sorry, I'm very passionate about how bad this console looks. I just don't like it. I just think like the controller. I like that. I like the new design, right? I think
Mhm.
that I I like the design shape wise,
Mm.
right? Everyone has been complaining that the DualShock 4 is too small. That hasn't been a problem with me, and I have like these big old hands too. But now that's bigger, so that no one will complain anymore, and I don't mind the bigger size. That's fine with me. Bigger is better. Um, and it has like the haptic feedback on the triggers, which would be
Mhm.
cool and whatnot. And it looks like it's comfortable to use. But like that two-tone color, ugh, ah, sorry, that's just how I feel.
Nice. No, whatever you say.
Yeah. What's your next con, Chris? Or your next worry?
My next worry. It's it's kind of a silly one,
Mm.
I think, but
You're a silly boy. It's okay.
right. I want I really hope that it's kind of backwards compatibility. That's one of the
Ooh,
big things that I'm kind of
that's
hoping for.
that's one of my pros.
Really?
Yes.
That
All
it
right.
does it have it or does it not?
All
Has it
right.
said?
This is complicated. All right. Give me a second. So let's start with Xbox Series X, which is leading the charge in backwards compatibility. So the
Yeah.
Xbox One has, I don't know total backwards compatibility, but it lets you use a select amount of Xbox 360 and original Xbox games. You can put those in your console and they work, I believe.
Yeah, there's a
So
lot. I knew that.
there's a lot. So for the Xbox Series X, all Xbox One games will be backwards compatible with a handful of legacy titles from the original Xbox and Xbox 360. I am not reading this from Microsoft's website. I'm just writing. This is what I have written down. They also have this thing called Smart Delivery, which is going to revolutionize backward compatibility, in my opinion. So what it does is, say I watched a video and they use Cyberpunk 2077 as an example. So let's imagine that you bought Cyberpunk on your Xbox One, right?
Hmm.
You immediately, as soon as Series X comes out, have Cyberpunk on that console at its upgraded value, right? So it has like all the updated assets or whatever, and you can play it from like where you left off. And if for whatever reason you want to go back and play on your one, you can continue playing there, but they just downgrade everything back to like they don't downgrade anything, but you play it back on the optimized version for that console.
Okay.
And then the last thing is they have Game Pass, which they have right now too, which also
Yeah.
works on PC, which is really nice for people. Which they have like the rotating games that you can download from there.
And then
Um,
place well, Xbox I know is backwards compatible, which is what I like about my concern is specifically with PlayStation
PlayStation.
because I know that Xbox has been doing a good job with that,
Mhm.
which I have to give them absolute credit for. They've been doing a crazy good job, and that I had seen a little bit about that, but I didn't know exactly how it worked, so that's really cool.
Yeah, I just
How
read
that
everything
works.
a couple hours ago, so I
Yeah,
just like got everything drilled in.
like the whole thing that they were touting with Stadia. You just switch back
Yeah,
and forth. Yeah,
exactly.
but
Um,
about PlayStation is my concern
but
because they've been PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 are not compatible.
yeah,
PlayStation 2 and 3 were, I remember because I
mhm.
played a bunch of like Lego Star Wars and Indiana Jones games
The
from the
classics.
PlayStation 2 on the PlayStation 3. But 3 doesn't go to 4, which is frustrating.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of games that I have for PlayStation 3 that I want to
mhm.
play on the PlayStation 4, but I can't.
Yeah, yeah.
So I kind
My
of hope.
first, my first like PlayStation console, not the handhelds, was the 4, and I really wanted them to have backwards compatibility so I can like go back and play old games that I had missed from last generation on my PlayStation 4. And so that was really disappointing for me that they didn't have that. And I can only imagine how much more disappointing it would be for someone who was actually like already part of that like ecosystem and was missing out on games. Luckily for all of us, PS4 has an okay backwards compatibility thing that they're going with. So PS Now is a thing, right now, so you can like stream
Mhm.
older, like some a select few older games and even some PS4 titles you can stream there too on the PS4 and like on the computer and whatnot. Not 100. I don't know if that's going to be on the 5, but I imagine it would be.
Mhm.
It just seems too easy to not be, and like that's another revenue stream for them. They did say that they will be bringing back backwards compatibility to the biggest PS4 titles. So like I imagine like God of War, Horizon, Spider-Man,
Mhm.
Uncharted,
They're
Last of
money
Us Part Two.
makers.
Yeah, definitely. And so I imagine that like those exclusives will come back, and maybe even I think that there's a potential that like certain like big games like COD to get backward compatibility. Well, I definitely wouldn't place my bets on that. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but the biggest news, the biggest thing of them all, is that GTA 5 or GTA Online will be there at launch
No, for free for everyone who
for,
plays it.
for
And if you
free.
log on every month from now until that, and now until the PS5 release, you get 1,000,000 free bucks on the PS4 port, the PS4 version.
There you go. We definitely needed this game on a third generation of consoles.
What else would we do with the third iteration of a game that's been out for 10 years?
Exactly. So does that make you feel slightly more
Makes me feel a little
comfortable?
bit better. I mean,
Good.
it's unfortunate that PlayStation is not going the route of that. That my concern still remains. I want it to be at least comparable to how Xbox is doing it. Because I'm not
Definitely.
paying for a PS Now subscription.
Neither
It's
am I.
expensive to play, to go back and like stream Red Dead, the original or whatever. Um,
Definitely. And
it's
there's
not really worth it.
and there's so much that's already coming in all the time too, and that we already pay for PS Plus too, and so
Yeah.
it's too much to be paying for all the time.
Hmm.
Although I do have backwards compatibility as a positive because I do think that like it's much better than last generation. It's really really good for Xbox players. Um, I do wish that like I could know for a fact that all of my games from my PS4 were coming over. Like I have stupid things there like Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens. This is the first thing that came to mind. I may never play that game ever again, but like, what if I want to?
Hmm.
And I'm gonna whip out my PS4 again. I don't want to. I don't want to do that. And I would also love to like sell my PS4 whenever I get my PS5, so it'd be a lot cheaper.
Hmm.
Um, but apparently that might not be an option for me. I'll definitely have to play it by ear and figure out like what I'm doing.
Hmm.
But I think on the whole, it's a positive.
Okay.
So my next con is the lack of killer launch window uh apps. So like not just release date because I don't think any PlayStation game has for sure said this is coming out on launch date. Just launch window. I feel like both sides are just kind of meh. Really, all PlayStation has is so they have Miles Morales, Spider-Man Miles Morales. They have Astro's Playroom and Bug Snacks. And Astro's Playroom look kind of cute, but like it's not like I'm not gonna buy that. I don't imagine.
Hmm.
And then they do have like the Bethesda games, Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, which Deathloop I think looks really cool. It looks so cool, but that's also on PC. So it doesn't feel as special. And then for Xbox, the only ones you have are Halo Infinite, Yakuza, not the only ones, but the only like big notable ones. And same thing for PlayStation. The only big notable ones are like Halo Infinite, Yakuza, Like a Dragon, and the Medium. And there are a handful of games that are coming out on both in launch window: Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, Outriders, all of like the sports games, and Destiny 2.
Hmm.
Destiny 2 is a port too, and so is not port, but they're coming back just and same thing
Upgrade
with
of this.
Siege.
It's like GTA. It's the
Yeah,
same game going to another console,
yeah.
just looking better.
And I think that every console generation has had a pretty like poor lineup of launch, or not every. I don't say everyone, but like in recent memory, I feel like most consoles have had like poor uh launch apps or launch games. The only good one was uh the Switch because I had Breath of the Wild, but that was kind of it.
Hmm.
Like for a couple months until Mario Kart 8 came out, which was a remaster. my Switch was a dedicated Breath of the Wild machine, which isn't exactly what you want. And whenever I get my PS5, I don't want it to be a dedicated Spider-Man machine because that's going to be a smaller title too. So
Yeah, which is one of the reasons that I'll probably not get it year one. Because that's why I didn't get a Switch year one, because it was Breath of the Wild. I was like, I'm gonna wait until there's 4 games that I want at least, and
mhm.
then like the next year Smash came out, or 2 years later, a year later, because it came out 2018.
Yes, yes,
A year later, Smash came out, and that's the year that I got Breath of the Wild, Smash, and my Switch, and all this other stuff. So I'll probably do the same thing with PlayStation. I will make some money, buy it next year when
hmm
it's discounted for Thanksgiving or for Black Friday, and then I'll get Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I'll get whatever other games have come out between here and there. If
yeah,
I play Horizon Zero Dawn between here and there, which I would like to, but probably won't,
hmm
I might get the new one because it looks good.
yeah.
So I mean, I feel you.
I'm weak-willed, so I would probably get PS5 on launch date. That's just how I am. It's not good. It's not healthy. I should probably wait for a sale. But how could I not play Miles Morales on launch day? How could I not pick up that game? Miles Morales is sleek and sexy. He's gonna be a cool Spider-Man. I don't know if I like him more than Peter, because Peter's my homeboy.
Hmm.
But Miles is cool. Miles is like here to like show up. I'm excited
Hmm.
for that. I also have a bonus con that I would like to share. I might cut this out, and if I don't cut it out, I'm not cutting out the fact that I said that I might cut it out
No.
because I'm too lazy for that. Um, but I'm not crazy about the upgrade between generations. I think it's like it doesn't. So I'm not like a graphics like nerd or anything like that. I'm not really stressed about how the game looks really, and I think like art design really goes a long way in how you make a game. Like
Hmm.
Breath of the Wild is gorgeous, and it doesn't like the assets aren't that hot, but like the way that it's stylized makes it look phenomenal.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm not really concerned about like how realistic everything is, but if if I am looking at that, I don't feel like the leap is that huge between like PS4, Xbox One to 5 and Series X.
Hmm. Well, the only thing that I'll say, I haven't looked too much into this one specifically, but I have seen. My only reference is the Unreal Engine 5 demo running
Hmm
on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
And that looks like phenomenal because of the way that they balance the light and they do
ray
the
tracing.
ray tracing. They do a comparable thing with sound. They simulate sound through the space, which I think
hmm
is really like a cool concept. So I think it allows for a lot, and I think it has been like significantly upgraded. I think it goes up to like 8K capabilities
Yeah.
from what is the PS4 Pro's 4. The base PS4 is 1080p,
hmm
and I've been 1080p is like nice, and we can't. Nobody's gonna be able to run 8K anyway, but the capability is kind of neat.
Yeah. I did hear, I forget where exactly. I don't remember exactly what they said, so this is gonna sound like me being an uninformed snothead or whatever. But I did hear that it's slightly the Unreal Engine 5, like not a trailer, but like the showcase, I guess, isn't isn't exactly realistic because that's not like a full game and it's not running like the HUD or like it was more or less that like it's not like an actual finished package that you're giving like with everything else running too. It's like self-contained and small. And it's kind of like on a guided track. So I don't know the specifics. I definitely don't want to like talk like I am an expert on all this. I definitely am not. But I have heard that it's not like that game. Obviously, it's not coming out, but like something of that caliber will not show up on launch day. I do think that maybe like later on, because with content generation, as developers learn how to use
Hmm.
maximize the console's strength more, like more does come about from it, and I think that like we will have some gorgeous games 7 years later, 7 years from now. But I don't think that like at the top that is going to be as impressive.
Oh, definitely not. I agree.
All right, Chris. So let's go on to your pros.
Well, actually, that is that was actually kind of one of my pros.
Really?
The capability, in a very general sense, the capability of the hardware. I feel like hopefully, uh, in an ideal world, everything improves. We'll be able to have higher frame rates than what is currently possible. The games will be able to run smoother and better and look better. Um, Everything will be able to, people will be able to utilize the new um, hardware better to improve their games and to improve our experience of those games.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it could open up a lot for, um, well, I won't go anymore because it's kind of it leads into my other one, my
All
other
right.
positive
So
thing.
okay, we'll let you tease out what you're saying. What the next one is. Um, I I am also excited to see where we go the next couple of years. I know I just like downplayed not downplayed, but like I kind of like was critical a second ago. But they obviously are more powerful than our current generation consoles, and I'm excited to see what they do outside of graphics. I I want to know how it informs like how many people we can shove into a small contained area. How many like unique interactions there can be in that space. I want to like fully flesh out these games. Like I think Red Dead is kind of along what I'm taught what I want. Like how Red Dead 2 has like so many different options you can do, and like the
Hmm.
game reacts to so many different um actions that you can take in a game. And I want to see something like that, like fully fleshed out. Maybe not as like noticeably complex, more like underneath the surface, like just things that you can like see if you're really looking for it. Notice that like people are talking a different way, people are interacting a different way. There are different, just making the game feel more alive. If that makes any
Hmm.
sense. So yeah, I'm also excited for that.
Yeah, and I feel like,
Yeah.
just not to cut you off, but I feel like that that has kind of been done like sporadically in bursts throughout gaming. Like I know Black Ops 2 through the campaign is there's a couple of things that depending on how you complete the mission or you react to certain things,
Hmm.
different the story will continue in a different direction, like only within a certain range. There's like 4 or 5 endings,
Hmm.
all ending at essentially the same point, but with different paths to the point, or slightly different paths to the point. And stuff like Destiny, where you can walk around and you encounter all the people in the tower, and they are all having their own little conversations about what their opinions are and like how they feel about the Guardians and what they feel about all this stuff. And I think it's kind of like something that can really be built upon, like you were saying, in the future.
Yeah, definitely. The thing that I always think about is Assassin's Creed Unity. I think what it was. Let's ignore all the problems with that game that can happen during release, which I also didn't play it, so let me have that be said. But during like one of their reveals, they were talking on how many people they could shove into like a small contained space. Like I remember, like they were like standing in front of like a guillotine or something, and there were just like hundreds of people all like making up this crowd, and you were like walking through the crowd, and everyone was doing something or talking about something. It just felt alive and like full, and like even The Last of Us, like everyone has a name
Hmm.
now, like and someone will be like, "Oh my gosh, you just killed John," or like, "Oh no, Sparky's like, where'd Sparky go?" It's like I want to see those like subtle like nuances that like we never like. If that had happened in the previous game and no one told me, or if this happened in this game and no one told me about it, I wouldn't think twice about it,
Hmm.
right? I want to see those kind of improvements later
Yeah,
on.
things that aren't necessarily relevant to the story, but are very small things that are important, like world building, that lets
Exactly,
everything seem like realistic.
exactly. My next pro is continued talks of cross platform play and cross generation play. Every game company right now is saying like, yeah, we can play like if like Destiny 2 is coming on the PS5 and Series X, you can play with people who are on the previous console generation. And even Bungie was talking about how maybe next year there's going to be cross-platform play, so like everyone can all link up together, regardless of whether or not you're on PlayStation or Xbox or on PC. And that we've already seen that come out from a lot of other companies with like Fortnite, and I think Minecraft is like that right now. Maybe Rocket League, I'm not sure, but I want to see this continue happening. I want like, at some point everyone can choose to play with everyone if they want to.
Yeah, I think that is one of the more important things, especially with like you and me, of when we're trying to play, like when we're trying to record Destiny or play in general.
Yeah,
Yours runs better. I guess it's easier for you to
on
play on
PC.
PC,
Hmm.
but my PC can't run it very well, and whenever we play, I'm running it on NVIDIA GeForce Now, and I stream it, and I get like an hour at a time. But it's easier for me to play on PlayStation. If we can play together, PlayStation to PC, that would make everything so much easier,
Definitely.
and it would be so wonderful.
It would be really nice.
Hmm.
We would not have any problem, or we'd have significantly fewer problems in the recording process,
For sure.
and just us having be able to have fun with each other. And so, what's your final pro or positive?
The thing that I'm looking forward to most is it's kind of another kind of silly one, but the capability of not the capability, but the experience of playing the games in the next generation.
Hmm.
I feel like with how everything is going, how we're progressing, how the consoles are getting better, how people are getting more comfortable and better at building games, we're going to experience some real gems, shall we say, on
That's
next generation
wholesome.
consoles,
That's so
next generation
wholesome.
consoles, and I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Is it just like new games, or is it just like everything? It's just like the whole experience of being on a on the new console. Is that what you
I
mean?
think I mean specifically games, but yeah, the whole experience will be cool. I think
Mhm.
to be able to extend uh, old IPs or old stories and to tell new versions or tell new extensions of those stories, and even to be introduced to new characters to get to know, I think is just something to look forward to.
That's so wholesome. I love that. Uh, just to add a little bit on top of that, I honestly like. I think video games are my favorite medium of art. I don't
Hmm.
want to give the whole argument. Maybe we can do that one day. Maybe we can get into a nice fun argument about
Have a
video games.
guest
Have a
that we've
yes,
already had this argument with, maybe.
yeah, that would be hilarious if we can get that person on. Um, but I just there's just something there's just like the way that you interact with a video game is so much different from everything else, right? Like you are directly part of at every single thing that happens, depending on the game, of course. And I just there's nothing like putting in a new game, I think, and being immersed in that world. Like whenever The Last of Us, I know I always talk about it. I'm sorry. When The Last of Us Part Two comes out, I will be so excited. It will just like and like my life for probably the next month, if not longer, will be transformed. I will be only having conversations with people about The Last of Us. I will only be thinking about The Last of Us. I will only be watching the Last of Us videos on YouTube. Everyone around me will hate me because the only words that will come out of my mouth are The Last of Us. And that's kind of what I'm like right now. I'm sure I brought The Last of Us up maybe like 5 times.
At least.
It's just in this podcast and probably more before we started talking too. Um, but yeah, I think that's it for both of us. Do you have any closing remarks you want to make, Chris, about the next generation consoles?
I think that just about covers everything I had.
Oh yeah, that's about everything for me too. But one more thing, please, please do not have these consoles be too expensive.
Oh,
I just want them to be cheap, not cheap. I don't want them to be exorbitant amount. Is that the right word? Exorbitant?
exorbitant?
Yeah, there you go.
Eh,
You know,
sure.
I don't want it to be
It's close
crazy.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put the word up that I meant to say at some point. Maybe we'll see how lazy I'm feeling. Um, Chris, heard
From the
report.
leaks,
Yeah.
from the very small leaks that are potentially true, potentially not, from like Amazon in France or whatever, it's it's not cheap, at least for the PS5. and I don't know about. I think I saw that the Series X is like the cost of is supposed to be like the cost of the leaked digital only version of the PS5.
Yeah, which is
So
$4, which is not $4, $400, and then for the one with the disc, it's supposed to be. I like how I make the disc curve that it has. It's supposed to be 500, right?
yeah, something like that.
So I know you said that you're gonna wait to get it. Are you gonna wait for a price drop too, or just until there are more games to legitimize your purchase?
Yes.
That was not an answer.
Yeah. It's yes to both.
Yes,
I'm gonna
okay,
wait until there's a yes is the answer to both of your questions.
okay, got you. So you're gonna wait until it is both a price cut and there are better games, or there are more games willing to buy.
Mm-hmm. What's the point at least?
All right, perfect. And I will be buying it on day one. I will only be playing Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and maybe some games I haven't finished yet because I don't finish any of my games.
I know.
But thank you so much, everyone, for listening to another episode of Project GEEKcast. We gave you guys a little bit of a longer one this
Mm-hmm.
time. This one's a bit spicier. Thank you, Chris, for talking to me about next generation consoles. It's always a pleasure.
Yep. Always a good time.
All right, and I always do this outro poorly, so let's see if I can hit it now. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, and subscribe and like and hit that bell and make a comment. Let us know what you want us to talk about next time. Let us know your favorite moments, your funniest quotes from the video. Let us know who you think is more handsome, me or Chris. And this is
Watch
Project.
more than 42 seconds. If you
Please
made it
watch.
this far, please just comment. Let us
You're,
know that somebody's paying attention.
you're a real one, all
Mm-hmm.
right? And we will give you a little heart comment. As long as you're not a bot. As long as you're not a bot, we will give you a little heart
Mm-hmm.
if you comment that. All right. Anyway, this is Project GeekCast logging off.